Welcome back to User and I, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design. This week we're going to be building off last week's video where we're creating really interesting gradient backgrounds using transparency and custom shapes. We're going to be focused on how we're going to be including these in real world designs, maybe landing pages, or even small UI elements here and there. So here's where we left off last week. So let's start with a rectangle. We won't worry about an artboard for now. I'm going to make it, give it a bit of a rounded edge. Give it a background of white. I'm also going to give it a tiny bit of a drop shadow. Let's tweak that a tiny bit. It's a bit harsh at the moment. And let's give it a bit of spread. And we're going to blur it a little bit more as well. Actually, can take down the spread a little bit. Yeah. And actually probably, yeah, that looks nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this first one. Let's move over here for a bit. Let's check where our background is. I'm going to copy that, put it in here. Right, let's move that in just down here. I'm going to duplicate this rectangle and I'm going to remove the drop shadow of the bottom one, and we're going to use this as a mask. If I group those, use as a mask just up here. I'm going to scale this up, move it up a little bit. I'm going to get rid of that, we don't need that anymore. Right, so here's our design right here. I'm going to add another rectangle just here. I'm going to move that into the main mask. And then I'm going to use this one as a mask. I'm going to move that up. And then I'm going to move this around in the mask. So as you can see, we've still got our design just here. And what I'll do is that I will increase the height of this just there. And I'm going to lock this layer. So I'm just going to add a little shape just here. And then I'm going to move this up a little bit. So again, we're using custom shapes, but we've got something interesting already. And what I'm going to do is double click on that again. Just move that further down. And then what I'm going to do is add a circle. We're going to use this as a, this will be where a picture would be actually. That's what we're going to add here. We go to Unsplash. Where's a plugin? Unsplash. Let's go for woman. Let's see what we've got. Let's go with this one. Let's see if we can edit that in the page. You can let me scale it. It's not going to let me scale it because I want to reposition it in the image, in the circle, sorry. Right, we're going to undo that. And I'm just going to go and grab an image. Where was it? That one. Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to hit K. I'm going to scale that down. Let's go for 0.3. And then I'm going to grab these corners. I'm going to duplicate that again, and of course we're going to use that as a mask, then drag that in there. That way we get to position the image in the actual frame itself. That's what we want. And then this one, which is the bottom one, there's our mask, here's the bottom one. We are going to give that a stroke on the outside, and we're going to increase that, going to make it white, and we're going to add a drop shadow. And with that drop shadow, we're going to blur it a little bit more and increase the depth just a tiny bit, turn down the transparency. There we go. And what we need now is job title, and we want a description. Here is a description. Now I'm not going to bother making this an actual text just here, but I'm going to group that. I'm going to move into the center. Now might be a good time for an artboard actually, just because I want to center this in the frame. Let's do that. Let's move that central. Let's give it an auto layout. And let's give these on the inside a fill container so it snaps. I also want these to be text align center. And I'm gonna zoom in to 100% so we know exactly what it's gonna look like. If I give this a stroke, actually let's put back on our drop shadow. And there we go. Just so we can see the outlines of the actual rectangle. If we scale this up, and then what I'll do here is that I will use a different font. Assistant is my favorite sans serif font, it just goes really well with everything. So if I scale that down, move that a little bit closer, and what I'll do is that I'll make this, let's go for marketing manager. Let's scale that down a little bit. I'm also going to say website link, and we need to put this in here. And then I'm going to group these, make that an auto layout, just because what I want to do is add some distance between this group and this link here. And I'll also scale that down. And I'm going to go here, click these three dots, and I'm going to give an underline. And I'm going to make this title part of this red here. And then I will double click that. That rectangle, change the height on that. Let's wait for the bounding boxes to come back in, 402. I'm going to hit Command C to copy that value. I'm going to paste it just here. So we've still kept our stuff in the same order. I also want to kind of scale this down just a touch. Looks like I'm scaling the wrong thing. Let's go with both of these because that's our image. I'm going to group them as well. Let's rename that image, and then down here, text, and then I'll hit K again. There we go, perfect. And So I'm going to group that. And then for our frame, just scale that down a touch. And it seems to be moving our group up here. So what I'll do is just move that down a touch. Seems we've got a bit of a problem here with our background. Basically what's happening is that after I've resized the frame, it's resized this. So I'm going to scale that up a touch. And it looks like it's specifically our rectangles. So I'm going to bring that down and then I'll scale these up as well. There we go. So that's one way I would use our backgrounds as an incorporation. I'd probably make this a different color whilst we're here. So that's one way I'd use our background. I think it makes it look a lot more interesting. It makes it a lot less simple. It does bring it off the page considerably. And let's just do one more with this one. So let's call that UI card. And I'll make another artboard just here. And so simply exactly what we did before, we're going to take this design here and I'm going to paste it into this artboard right here. And then what I'm going to do is, of course, get rid of this. And now we've just got our background in the group. So what we're going to do with this, you might wonder. So we could make another UI card, or we could make a slider on a header. So what I'm going to do is move that up here. I'm going to cut this. And then I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger. I'm going to paste it just here. And then I'm going to scale it up. So we've got our entire background just here. Center that. Okay, so here's what we have, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to lock this. And we're going to start designing. So what we're going to do, assuming this is on a website, in the header, what we want is an area where we can put the text, which is going to be this area here, and just that area down there, where you can see a really cool design. So let's do this. Add another drop shadow, except it's going to be on the left hand side this time. Okay, no problem. And then we're going to create a call to action whilst we're here actually. I'm going to say view more information. And we are going to group that. We're going to make an auto layout. And then we're going to add some padding. and we're going to give that a background. We're going to use this color just here. Bring that over here. We're going to give it a bit more padding on the left and the right. And then we're going to round the edges a little bit. I do love a rounded edge, just, I don't know, it just makes things softer. And we're going to give it a title. I won't bother filling this in this time. First line, second line, and we're going to left align that, right align that, sorry, and our call to action is going to sit just there. Then I'm going to duplicate this first line, give it an auto layout, and I'm going to change this to, of course, you guessed it, assistant, and I'm going to call this a subline, and I'm going to make the font smaller on that. I'm going to come up here and change the line height of that first bit, and then I'm going to group these two and I'll auto layout those. I kind of want them quite close together, and then on this outer frame here I'm going to increase that, and then I'm going to hit K. I'm going to scale those up just a little bit. Now I'm going to scale this back down. And then I'm going to right click. I've got a really cool plugin called Blob. And this basically lets you create different blobs of different complexity, as you can see here. I want something really basic, nothing too great. I'm going to insert that. I'm going to click close. And then after that, I'm going to copy and paste it in here. And what I'll do, we're going to go into Unsplash again. Plugins, Unsplash. And we're going to go for something a bit striking, maybe like a, I don't know, a happy child. Let's do that. That's what we're looking for. We might run into the same problem we did last time. In fact, we are, which is that I can't scale up the image in the frame. So I'm going to duplicate that. I'm going to give this make this a mask just here. And then plugins, Unsplash. Let's go with happy child again. So we get the same image. I'm going to put that just there. And I'm going to hit K for shortcut. And I'm going to scale that down and zoom out. There we go. I do like this, it looks really cool. And now I'm going to scale this up again with K. Fine. And then next I'm going to scale up the whole mask. Let's get rid of that one that we copied below. In fact, let's flip this. Because what we're going to do is, I'm not going to worry about that bit for now, because we are going to tuck this underneath there. And what we can also do whilst we're here is we can rotate this mask without rotating the image. So I'm going to use that instead. And I'm going to nudge this up so I can move that over. And then I'll move that just a little bit in here so we can see more of that background. And what I'll do is that I will so I think I'm quite happy with that for now. There isn't anything I'd add to that so far. So here's our two designs. One we can definitely use as a intro area or an about page on a website, and one we can use at the top of any website, incorporating our really cool backgrounds in both. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Let me know how you found it. Let me know what you'd want to see more of, and I'll see you on the next episode.